Lionheart. I hoped I'd find you out here. Your knighthood looks good on you. I mean it. I'm pleased that Edmund saw fit to reward you. No one deserves it more. Without you, none of this would have come to pass. I would still be in that little hut in Riverton, running myself ragged, trying to concoct a cure while treating arthritis and broken arms. Not that being a country healer didn't have its own reward, but I've done what I set out to do. Madeline is well, Edmund is fully restored to his throne, his wife has returned, and I'm back where I belong. Have you been enjoying the party? I noticed no small number of nobles swarming you for the chance to reacquaint themselves with the hero of the hour. I'm afraid I was similarly occupied, or I would have rescued you. I have had countless flowery apologies offered to me tonight. Well, the hearts of nobles may be fickle, but I've no doubt that many of them would have supported me if Bertram had been my only adversary. Once they perceived Edmund as an ally to him, though, there was no safe way for them to offer assistance to a dishonored court mage. It's no matter. I'm taking it as an opportunity to strengthen those ties and reaffirm people's faith in their king. You haven't seen Edmund because he is working. Yes, during a party. Even in a best-case scenario, he's unable to keep away from his study for more than a few hours. And right now, he feels responsible for what happened. He wants to make amends to, well, the whole kingdom. I'm trying to make myself available to help him. Not just to get tasks done, but to shoulder the burden. I should check on him. I received a letter for him, and he wanted to speak to me anyway. Now's as good a time as any. Will you walk with me? Yes, I looked Madeline over today. She's just as she was before, like nothing ever happened. Did you see her dancing earlier this evening, twirling and flitting about like she hadn't a care in the world? For all that I was warned against the study of blood magic, I am glad I researched it anyway. It was the only thing that kept her alive. Don't worry, though, I don't intend on making a habit of using it.
Oh, come in. You two should be enjoying the celebrations.
So should you.
I have so much to get done. So many of Bertram's decisions to undo. It may not have been my fault, but the neighboring kingdoms won't look kindly on a king who fell prey to such an attack. Especially when I slighted many of them.
We will help you, Ed. What's next on your list?
I've already ordered the withdrawal of troops from the eastern borders. Bertram had launched a campaign in my name to take over the Tern River Valley for our kingdom, going against the peace treaty that my father signed 2 decades ago. I'm sending the kingdom and the villages monetary reparations and a sincere apology.
That's a good start.
I also had an audience this morning with a young orc woman who brought reports of bandits attacking peaceful farming villages along the northern border. There is a woeful lack of protection for that area since Bertram diverted the troops. As luck would have it, though, that particular woman is a leader of a band of fighters who offered up their swords to my service.
I presume you took her up on it.
I did. She and her village still believe in me, so I wanted to reward that loyalty. I gave her a commission and command over 2 additional battalions, and I've pledged funds to help those villages rebuild. I've allotted bonuses to Bertram's remaining troops and ordered them to other regions to quell the unrest. My hope is that they'll be able to accomplish that while they're already on their way home for a well-deserved break. I want this kingdom to know peace for a time.
That's wonderful. I'm sure they'll see the truth of your actions.
Have we heard anything about the Duke?
I did receive an update from Miri, yes. I've been waiting to read it until you had a moment to spare.
Now is a good time.
All right. Your Majesty, The use of Arlo's truth serum on Duke Nigel Bertram has proven all of your worst fears. The Duke's plan was to take over the throne, slowly displacing you from power until he could fake your death of natural causes. The Lady Elwyn, being his most likely adversary, was easy to remove from the picture once his hold on your mind was complete. He has confessed to schemes dating back to the rule of your father, the late king. In addition to minor charms meant to curry favor and endear him to King Harold, he also set a plan in motion to sabotage the king's already poor health and his ability to sire children, in hopes that when the king died, the rule of the kingdom would pass to the next highest-ranking person in the kingdom, himself.
That obviously didn't succeed, or I wouldn't be here.
There's more. Arlo noted that there was only 1 year during which the disgraced duke was not present at the king's side, as he had been sent as an ambassador on a tour of the island territories. At the end of that year, you were born. Under the effect of the truth serum, the duke expressed extreme frustration and anger at this turn of events, particularly when it was discovered that you, as a child, did not suffer the same affliction that your father had carried through his whole life. His primary victim was wasting away at a rate that he deemed acceptable, but the heir to the throne was perfectly healthy. Imagine his glee when you were sent to the front, the most dangerous battles in the war, in your father's stead. He hired assassins to attempt to take you out on the battlefield, but he did not account for a young sorceress who happened to become your constant companion, and incidentally thwarted every attempt on your life. Bertram was fuming when you came home from the war unscathed.
And when the former court mage retired and I named you as her replacement, he was furious. The only reason I kept a seat for him on the council was because of his service to my father, which I'm now questioning entirely. Is there more?
Just a bit. Bertram has stated that when Princess Madeline was born, he believed all hope was lost, until the princess was discovered to be suffering from the same hereditary affliction that had plagued her grandfather. It would be easy for him to handle a very sick child, leaving only the parents to deal with. He stated in frustration, though, that the damned witch had come up with a way to keep the girl alive and was always at her side. He concocted a poison for the child that he would slip into her nightly potion, thereby implicating Lady Elwyn, and prepared a mind control amulet to be used on you, Your Majesty. Then he lay in wait to spring his trap. You presented the opportunity yourself when you sought treatment from him, and he seized the chance wholeheartedly. The final piece of this scheme was to steal a notebook in Headmaster Arlo's possession that once belonged to the former court mage, Maria Ashby. Within there were notes that detailed the former king's illness, which he worried could be used to implicate him. He also stole Arlo's spell focus in order to prevent the headmaster from detecting or reversing the mind control. Lady Elwyn's use of blood magic was a deviation from the plan, but it did allow him to frame her even more clearly. This testimony was heard in a hall of 20 witnesses using the standard dose of truth serum. We await your orders as to the Duke's punishment, Your Majesty. Ever your servant, Miri, Lady of Shadows. That's all.
I cannot believe I trusted him.
We all trusted him, Ed. This isn't on you. What are you going to do?
He's tried to endanger 3 generations of royalty. He must be executed. What do I do about his territory? He's had the run of that county for 40 years. Replacing him would be best, but who would know the people and the unique needs of that county? I don't just want to throw in someone with a title to keep the seat warm. I need someone who will communicate to me exactly what is needed so that we can try and undo the damage that has been done.
This may be a little unorthodox, but nothing about this situation is normal, so hear me out. There's a servant in Bertram's employ. Her name is Martha. According to Miri, she aided the duo in retrieving Arlo's personal effects from Bertram's possession. I can personally vouch for her as well. She helped us break into his estate to get what we needed to cure Madeline and to take the pendant. Not only does she know his estate and finances inside and out, but she's a woman of the people through and through. Even now, she's petitioning for an audience with you to advocate for her people's needs. She wants to set the county to rights.
That could work, actually.
From what Miri tells me, she won't mince words. But she'll tell you the truth, which is what's needed most right now, I think.
Then let's meet with her first thing tomorrow. I can't offer her the seat until after we're done dealing with Bertram, but we can get started on providing support.
I'll send her a message. I believe she's staying with Mary here in the city. Now that that's settled, why don't you pause for the evening? You could use some rest.
Before we do that, there's something I've wanted to tell you. For a couple of years. Something that might affect the kingdom in a huge way. I didn't have the chance to tell you before everything happened, and it's been weighing heavily on my mind.
All right.
You know Arlo had been searching for your true parentage ever since you arrived at the academy. Over the years, he had been poring over Maria Ashby's notes. Maria delivered all the babies inside the palace walls, even ones that were born to the servants. There was one dark-haired baby girl in particular that had piqued his interest, but there was no name listed for either the baby or the mother.
That's common, isn't it? Servant women aren't usually noted anywhere.
It's not common at all. Maria had listed at least the first name of both mother and child at every birth, except for that one. Arlo suspected the baby might be you, but there wasn't enough to go on. So he marked the entry and moved on to more promising leads, none of which panned out. But he did tell me about his search at that point, and provided me details in hopes that I might be able to shed light on the subject. And I knew just where to go. Only one person would have the opportunity to keep their finger on the pulse of the entire palace. My old nurse, who had served the royal family for 50 years, and who lived among the servants. When I posed the question to her, she was surprisingly keen to answer. She told me of a baby girl born the same night as my christening feast, whose mother didn't survive childbirth. She told me the mother's name was Lydia, and she told me that the kitchen staff did her best to raise the girl in the palace, among friends, until she came into her magic just before her 4th birthday. The girl apparently tried to help light a cold fireplace with her own fireball. After the kitchen fire had been put out, they realized that they needed to give her to someone who could train her to use her magic.
At which point they left her on the steps of the academy.
Which is where Arlo found you, all those years ago.
Ed.
They originally named you after your mother, Lydia. They explained your disappearance by saying you perished in the fire. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. You figured out who I am, where I came from.
There's more, though. The old woman told me a bit of palace gossip. That King Harold was particularly fond of his chambermaid. My father's wandering eye was never much of a secret growing up, I'm afraid, but it was a secret that he fathered a child with the maid. Maria and the old woman were the only two who knew, which is why, to protect the child's identity, he never wrote down the name of either mother or child at birth.
You cannot be serious.
Gwen, you're King Harold's daughter. And my slightly younger sister.
That's why your blood called out to me at Bertram's estate.
And why your magic responded to me on the battlefield.
You're my brother? After all this time. But why would this affect the kingdom? No one has to know.
The thing is, Gwen, you have a legitimate claim to the line of succession, if you want to take it.
I won't be making any such claim, and you know it. I may be able to barely navigate politics, but I leave the skillful handling of them to you. I want nothing more than to be your court mage and continue being a part of your family.
I do plan to still announce these findings, to set things right in the kingdom.
I appreciate the thought, Ed, but that's not necessary. It will just cause more unrest for you.
I am tired of secrets running amok. This story will be told, and the people will love you no less for it. Besides, it might clear up some of those awkward rumors about our relationship. Not to mention, it may help explain our victory against the last Dragon King all those years ago.
You have a point. All right, yes, it's probably for the best.
Oh, I can't wait to tell Madeline that you're her aunt by blood. She's going to be ecstatic.
Oh my gods, I didn't even think of that.
One last small matter of business. There's a parcel of land on the coast, about half a day's ride from the city. A mid-sized estate in that peaceful area. I'd like to gift it to the two of you. Don't worry, I'm not banishing you from your work here, but I do want to give you a place of your own, away from all this. Consider it a very meager thanks for saving me, my daughter, and the kingdom.
We accept your kind gift. Thank you, brother.
You're welcome, sister. Now I owe my wife a dance. I'll see you back at the party.
Well, Lionheart, it seems that we now not only have a need for a vacation, but a place in which to do it. What do you say we make for the coast at the earliest possible convenience? I would love that too. Shall we rejoin the party? Yes, we can dance right here. Just us, and no one else. And this time, there are no glamours, no masks to hide who we are. I see you for who you are, what you are, my Lionheart, and I love you for it. What is it? I suppose this would be the first time you've sensed pure joy radiating off of me. It's been a fair while since I've felt it. Well, with you at my side, Lionheart, I'm quite certain I'll feel this way for a very, very long time.